Manchester City. Sergio Aguero is Manchester City's greatest player, and it's defined by one moment. That 93rd minute against QPR didn't just win a title, it rewrote football history. Aguero scored 260 goals across 390 games, averaging a goal every 108 minutes in the Premier League. He grabbed 5 league titles, 6 League Cups, and an FA Cup. His 20 hat-tricks remain a club record that may never be touched. A crying Pep Guardiola called him irreplaceable and a legend who changed this club's destiny. While Kevin De Bruyne's creativity is unmatched and David Silva orchestrated a decade of dominance, Aguero's combination of clutch moments and consistent brilliance edges them out. 93-20 isn't just a time, it's City's DNA. Arsenal. Thierry Henry stands as Arsenal's greatest player, and the numbers tell an undeniable story. He scored 228 goals in 377 appearances, won 4 Golden Boots, and terrorised defences for 8 seasons. Henry averaged 0.68 goals per game in the Premier League, a rate that would translate to 26 goals per season. Arsène Wenger said Henry was like a mixture of Pelé and Muhammad Ali. He had the talent and the presence. His solo run at Real Madrid, the spin against Tottenham, and that celebration sprint to the North Bank created moments that transcend statistics. Some might argue Dennis Bergkamp brought superior artistry, or that Patrick Vieira's leadership was more crucial, but Henry combined both elements with devastating consistency that left defenders looking like traffic cones. Newcastle United. Alan Shearer and his homecoming story still gives Geordies goosebumps. He scored 206 goals in 405 appearances after choosing Tyneside over Manchester United's trophy cabinet. Shearer became the Premier League's all-time leading scorer with 260 goals, but his 206 for Newcastle carried extra weight. Sir Bobby Robson called him the perfect centre-forward, and Kevin Keegan said signing Shearer was like bringing the crown jewels home. His volleys against Everton is unforgettable. Critics could point to Jackie Milburn's earlier heroics or Paul Gascoigne's brief moments of magic, but Shearer chose Newcastle when he could have chosen anywhere. That loyalty, combined with 206 reasons to celebrate, makes him untouchable on Tyneside. Wolverhampton Wanderers. Steve Bull remains Wolverhampton Wanderers' greatest player, and his goal record tells an incredible story of relentless hunger. Bull scored 306 goals in 561 appearances, including 18 hat-tricks that had Molineux bouncing. He averaged 0.55 goals per game while dragging Wolves up from the 4th Division to the 1st Division. Bull scored 52 goals in 1987-88 and 50 in 1988-89, remarkable consecutive seasons that belong in fantasy football. Graham Taylor called him up for England while Wolves were in the 2nd Division, saying class is permanent, regardless of level. Billy Wright's England captaincy earned legendary status, but Bull's club-level dominance and narrative arc of dragging Wolves back to relevance through sheer goal-scoring force makes him irreplaceable. His goals weren't just numbers, they were stepping stones carrying Wolves upward to where they are today. Liverpool. Kenny Dalglish stands as Liverpool's greatest player in a decision that could split any pub debate. Dalglish scored 172 goals in 515 appearances as a player, then managed the club to 3 First Division titles and 1 FA Cup. Bob Paisley called him the most talented player I ever worked with. Dalglish won 6 league titles, 3 European Cups and 2 FA Cup as a player, plus 3 league titles as manager. Many would argue Steven Gerrard's miraculous Istanbul heroics and unwavering loyalty deserve recognition, while Mohamed Salah's record-breaking seasons delivered a long-awaited Premier League title. Yet Dalglish defined an entire era, both on the pitch and in the dugout. His intelligence, leadership, and trophy collection across different roles create a legacy that embodies everything Liverpool represents when Anfield sings, "You'll never walk alone." Crystal Palace. Wilfried Zaha transformed Crystal Palace from relegation fodder into Premier League regulars, making him the club's greatest modern player. Zaha scored 90 goals in 458 appearances across multiple spells, but his impact transcends basic statistics. Palace won 1.3 points per game with Zaha in the team, compared to 0.8 without him, a difference meaning survival versus relegation. Former manager Patrick Vieira described him as a game-changer who can decide matches alone. His pace, skill, and ability to beat multiple defenders created highlight reels weekly. Ian Wright provided early magic, and Jim Cannon offered defensive stability. But Zaha became Palace's identity through years of "give it to Wilf" that made him untouchable at Selhurst Park. Brighton. Glenn Murray edges out Tommy Cook as Brighton's greatest player through sheer impact in crucial moments. Murray scored 123 goals across 2 spells, including 23 in the Championship promotion season and vital Premier League survival strikes. Cook holds the all-time record with 125 goals, spanning a longer period. Yet Murray's goals carried more weight in the club's most important chapters. Chris Hughton called Murray irreplaceable during the promotion run. His header against Manchester United and penalty heroics defined an era. You could make a case that Cook's longevity sets the benchmark, or that Peter Ward dazzled in the 70s. But Murray's timing and temperament in pressured moments makes him stand out. Tottenham. Harry Kane surpassed Jimmy Greaves as Tottenham's greatest player when he broke the goal-scoring record in 2023. Kane scored 280 goals in 435 appearances, averaging 0.64 goals per game across all competitions. He won 3 Golden Boots, became England's all-time leading scorer, and in his remarkable 2020-21 season, he became the first player to win both the Premier League Golden Boot and Playmaker Award in the same campaign, with 23 goals and 14 assists. Antonio Conte called Kane one of the best strikers in the world, maybe the best. Kane's ability to drop deep, create chances, and finish with both feet made him a complete forward. Greaves purists will point to his superior goals per game ratio and supreme finishing ability, while others might champion Gareth Bale's individual brilliance. However, Kane's longevity, leadership, and evolution into a playmaker-striker hybrid ultimately edges him ahead of Spurs legends. West Ham. Bobby Moore stands as West Ham's greatest player, and his legacy extends far beyond club football into immortality. Moore captained England to World Cup glory in 1966 while making 647 appearances for the Hammers. He won the FA Cup in 1964 and 1975, plus the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1965. Franz Beckenbauer called Moore the best defender in the history of the game, while Pelé described him as the most fair of all footballers. His tackle on Jairzinho in the 1970 World Cup became the gold standard for defensive play. Trevor Brooking's midfield silk and Paolo Di Canio's magical moments earned their own acclaim. But Moore's combination of club success and international immortality remains unbeatable. The statue outside London Stadium captures a player who conquered the world stage while embodying West Ham's values. Everton. Dixie Dean holds the most unbreakable record in English football history, making him Everton's undisputed greatest player. Dean scored 383 goals in 433 appearances, including 60 league goals in the 1927-28 season, a record standing for nearly a century. His goals per game ratio of 0.88 across all competitions defies modern comprehension. Dean won 2 First Division titles and 1 FA Cup, while averaging over a goal per game in league competition. When asked if his record would ever be broken, Dean said, "I think it will. But there's only one man who'll do it. That's the fellow that walks on the water." Dean grabbed 37 hat-tricks throughout his career like they were routine. Modern fans might champion Neville Southall as the world's best goalkeeper or praise Wayne Rooney's contributions to Everton, but Dean's achievements exist in their own stratosphere. The Goodison statue honours a player whose goal tally reads like fantasy but remains gloriously real. Fulham. Johnny Haynes earned the title Mr. Fulham through elegance, loyalty and leadership that defined the club's very soul. Haynes made 658 appearances and scored 158 goals while captaining both club and country. He became England's first £100 per week footballer in 1961, yet chose to remain at Craven Cottage when Europe's elite came calling. England teammates marvelled at through balls delivered with perfect weight every time, while his free kicks and long-range distribution created magic before television made such moments famous. Alexander Mitrovic's championship record-breaking and Edwin van der Sar's world-class goalkeeping earned respect, but Haynes represented something deeper: pure class, unwavering commitment, and the very essence of Fulham Football Club. Manchester United. Sir Bobby Charlton represents everything magnificent about Manchester United, from heartbreaking tragedy to European triumph. Charlton scored 249 goals in 758 appearances while surviving the Munich air disaster and leading United to continental glory. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1966, 3 First Division titles, 1 FA Cup, and the European Cup in 1968. His 2 goals in the 1968 European Cup final helped fulfill promises made to fallen Munich teammates. George Best delivered genius and glamour. Cristiano Ronaldo provided individual brilliance. Wayne Rooney broke scoring records. Yet Charlton's combination of tragedy overcome, sustained excellence, and emotional connection to United's greatest story makes him the undisputed Manchester United legend. Leeds United. Billy Bremner captained Leeds United through their golden era, becoming the beating heart that drove everything they achieved. Bremner made 773 appearances and scored 115 goals while winning 2 First Division titles, 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup, and 2 Intercities Fairs Cups. Don Revie, who masterminded their most successful period, called him the heartbeat of everything we achieved, while teammates described his leadership as genuinely inspirational. Bremner's passing range, relentless work rate, and crucial goals made him perfect for Revie's revolutionary system. His performances in European competitions demonstrated pure class on football's biggest stages. John Charles was a versatile goal machine. Peter Lorimer possessed a legendary shot, but Bremner's captaincy, consistency, and spiritual connection with Elland Road supporters make him Leeds United royalty. When Leeds remembers glory days, they see Bremner leading the charge. Chelsea. Frank Lampard transformed from West Ham reject to Chelsea legend, becoming their greatest ever player through goals, consistency, and ice-cold big-match temperament. Lampard scored 211 goals in 648 appearances, extraordinary numbers that redefined what midfielders could achieve. Playing as an attacking midfielder throughout his career, his late runs into the box and shooting ability from distance became legendary across Europe. He won 3 Premier League titles, 4 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, and the Champions League in 2012. Jose Mourinho called him the best English player for 10 years, while Carlo Ancelotti described his shooting as unstoppable from 20 yards. His Champions League semi-final performances showcased pure big-game mentality when stakes were highest. Terry captained with authority. Drogba delivered in finals. Hazard mesmerized with skill, yet none matched Lampard's goal-scoring consistency from midfield across 13 seasons of excellence. Nottingham Forest. John Robertson earned Brian Clough's ultimate praise as the greatest player I ever managed, securing his status as Nottingham Forest's finest ever player. Robertson made around 500 appearances and scored close to 100 goals, while creating countless others through left-footed wizardry and exceptional football intelligence. He won 2 European Cups, 1 First Division title, and multiple League Cups during Forest's golden era. Robertson provided the cross for Tony Woodcock's goal in the 1979 European Cup final, then scored the decisive winner against Hamburg in 1980. Clough said Robertson could drop a ball on a sixpence from 40 yards, while teammates marveled at crossing ability that seemed supernatural. When the master tactician who transformed nobodies into European champions singles out one player above all others, that endorsement carries more weight than any statistics could ever measure. Burnley. Jimmy McIlroy stands as Burnley's greatest player through pure artistry during their most glorious period in living memory. McIlroy scored 131 goals in 497 appearances, while orchestrating Burnley's magnificent 1960 First Division title triumph, their greatest achievement in modern times. His vision, passing range and ability to find space made him the conductor of Harry Potter's footballing symphony that captivated England. McIlroy earned 55 caps for Northern Ireland and attracted interest from Europe's elite, yet remained loyal to Turf Moor throughout his peak years. Former teammates described his first touch as flawless every single time, while opponents struggled to contain his movement and creative genius. The title-winning campaign showcased everything beautiful about McIlroy: intelligence conquering athleticism, elegance triumphing over effort, proving that football's greatest artists don't always need the biggest stages to create magic. Brentford. Jim Towers transformed Griffin Park into goal-scoring theatre, establishing himself as Brentford's greatest ever player through devastating finishing ability that still echoes today. Towers scored 163 goals in 282 appearances during the 1950s and 1960s, creating a remarkable goals-per-game ratio that terrorized third division defenses throughout his legendary era. His partnership with George Francis became the stuff of B's folklore, combining pace with clinical finishing that made Griffin Park unmissable weekend entertainment. Towers' most lethal campaign produced 37 league goals, while his hat-tricks became routine spectacles for grateful supporters. Former teammates described his shooting as thunderous from anywhere inside the penalty area, while his relentless work rate impressed everyone who witnessed his craft. In an era before television coverage made stars, Towers created magic through pure goal-scoring instinct that lives forever in Griffin Park folklore. Aston Villa. Paul McGrath achieved something almost impossible for any defender, winning the PFA Players Player of the Year award in 1993 while battling chronic injuries that would have destroyed lesser careers. McGrath made 323 appearances for Villa, despite knee problems that prevented him from training regularly on Fridays. He rarely practiced before weekend matches due to his physical limitations, but still dominated Premier League forwards with supernatural consistency that defied logic. Ron Atkinson called him the most naturally gifted defender I ever worked with, while strikers described facing McGrath as utterly impossible to get past. His reading of the game, aerial dominance and composure under extreme pressure made him world-class despite constant adversity threatening his future. Villa finished runners-up in 1993, largely through McGrath's defensive excellence that medical science couldn't explain. The sight of McGrath limping through matches yet still outclassing every opponent remains football's most inspiring example of talent transcending physical limitations. Sunderland. Kevin Phillips achieved something no other Englishman managed in the Premier League era, winning the European Golden Shoe through devastating finishing ability that shocked Europe. Phillips scored 30 league goals in the 1999-2000 season, firing Sunderland to 7th place and European qualification that seemed impossible. His goals-per-game ratio of 0.5 across 120 Premier League appearances showcased clinical finishing that belonged among the continent's elite. Phillips formed a telepathic partnership with Niall Quinn that terrorized defenses nationwide with perfect understanding. Peter Reid called him the most natural finisher I ever worked with, while Quinn described their connection as almost psychic. His volleys, headers and poaching instincts made him the complete goalscorer who never missed when it mattered. While Hurley earned fan votes and Montgomery produced miraculous saves, Phillips delivered measurable greatness that placed him among Europe's deadliest strikers when English football needed proof of its quality. AFC Bournemouth. Steve Fletcher embodied AFC Bournemouth's impossible journey from obscurity to the Premier League through loyalty, leadership, and remarkable longevity that modern football rarely witnesses. Fletcher made 728 appearances across 3 decades, scoring 131 goals while captaining the club through multiple divisions and financial disasters that threatened their existence. His commitment during the club's darkest days in the 1990s, including playing without wages when bankruptcy loomed, demonstrated character that transcends sport entirely. Fletcher's crucial goals in relegation battles and inspirational presence during promotion campaigns made him absolutely irreplaceable to supporters who watched him grow. Eddie Howe called him the heartbeat of this football club, while fans consider him family rather than merely a player they once cheered. His deep understanding of what Bournemouth represents goes far beyond statistics or achievements recorded in books. 3 decades of unwavering dedication created a bond between player and club that modern football's mercenary culture can never replicate. Some legends are born from trophies, others from loyalty. Some from genius, others from graft. Tell me where you think I got it wrong, and defend your club's real number one in the comments below.